Hey guys, how's it going? May here. Just got back from the Seattle Regional today. I went X-2 and finished in 17th place, which not as good as last time, unfortunately, but I still topped and got my third quote-unquote invite of the year, so that's pretty exciting. Two for two topping regionals so far in my career, so can't be too upset about that. It was kind of funny. I wasn't originally planning on playing Malice until literally unironically midnight last night. I couldn't get March hairs all week. I opened a bunch of boxes, didn't pull a single one, pulled one back up. It was so ridiculous. It was just completely rigged against me. So I was planning on playing Kashtira Fiendsmith or something like that. And then my friend Christopher, who is also planning on playing Malice, he kind of at the last minute was like, oh, this deck's too hard. I'm just going to play Fire King, which honestly kind of worked out for him. He went X2 and finished ninth place. So I'm glad he made that decision, and he let me borrow two of his March hairs. So anyway, that's a long way of saying that, yeah, I played Malice today, and I guess I'll get right into it. It was actually a lot more fun and a lot more capable than I thought it might be. I know in a lot of my testing, and I know other people have talked about this too, is they found the deck to be randomly kind of bricky sometimes. And I think I only bricked once or twice the entire event, so clearly it wasn't a problem. Anyway, starting off with my list, I've got three March hairs, only one here, obviously. It's the only one I own. It's a crazy card for the deck. Yeah, I mean, I think if you know, you know. Really great card. Two Dormouse, two White Rabbit, because they're both semi-limited, and then play two Chessie. Kind of went back and forth on playing maybe a third one. I think two is definitely correct because you like to see names, just because they can start off your plays really well. But two felt good today. I might have to revisit playing a third, but I think it worked out nice. And oh my god, can this deck draw? It is the most degenerate, you just draw 5 cards deep every combo, and you're always finding hand traps or floodgates after sides that are broken. So it's crazy. And then we have the full, or I guess not the full, but the basic Ad Ignister package here. 3 backup, 1 wizard. Yeah, they're crazy. Funny thing is a lot of the time today, several games, I started off by summoning a hand trap. It was always a Charmy, because I, spoilers, played 6 in the main. So I would normal summon Fuwalos, make Almirage, and then summon backup out and get my play started that way. And you might be thinking, wow, that sounds like a really terrible combo, because this gets stopped by Ash, Imperm, Veiler, or whatever. And you would be right, but a lot of the time I didn't have a real normal summon in hand. I'd have something like a Maliss and Underground or a Goldstark, and this is a great way to just bait out early interruptions from your opponent, because what are you gonna do? You're gonna get this negated, and then what do you do? Because a lot of people aren't playing generic stuff to make off of this in a Link body. So yeah, it was a good way to get plays started. And yeah, it was crazy. Wizard was insane. But I actually hard-drew this a few times, and it also was an insane extender. So yeah, these cards are just as amazing as I thought they would be. Yeah, I don't know what more to say. They're great. Field Spell, 2, and Terraforming. I don't know where my good one went. I couldn't find it, so I just played a common one. This was a last-second addition, because I was finding I was bricking too much, so I cut down on some hand traps. I was playing a more generic lineup, so I was playing Ghost Ogres and Ghost Spells, which I think are really good cards, but this is not the deck to play that many hand traps, and I think you need gas, especially when you're going first. So the extra Terraforming helped, and then the gold sarcophagus, another broken card. I think I only drew this a couple times all day, and I never used it. But in theory, it's an amazing extender. So good stuff. And then for the rest of the gas in this deck, I played 2 Allure of Darkness. This was originally not in my deck when I was testing this deck out the last month or whatever. But again, this was a last second edition that I made last night, because I just felt I was not satisfied with my and not bricking right with this deck. So I thought this is like perfect. Just gives you like a generic draw too. And like the more I thought about it, I'm like, why am I not playing like literally Pot of Greed in my deck? It is literally Pot of Greed and March Hare from the hand. Like, this card is broken. I should be playing it at 3. It's so good. I think every time I used it today, I won, including going second. So, crazy card. Anyway, definitely play it. It's really good. And then engine requirements. One of each of these. So, there's probably a lot of dialogue that could be had about all of this. I think these are the two that are uncontroversial because they're obviously the best ones. This has not been in my deck list like at all for testing. I read the card and I don't understand why people like it. And then it was kind of, people explained this to me the other day, like, and I'd seen people talking about it on YouTube, like the idea it's like, oh, well, you know, it's good for like a low investment end board. Like you go into Red Ransom, set this when you get like Lancet or Fuwood or whatever. That scenario happened exactly once in this tournament. And I got mermailed and got wiped out, so it didn't make a difference. I know there's like combo lines with this. I'll be real with you. I did not once like go Red Ransom, banish this from deck, banish a monster, add a March Hare or whatever the combo lines are. That's either because I'm stupid or like I just in real game states, like in theory I understand how this works as a combo piece, but it just never came up. I still like it. I kind of like it though, and I'll probably keep it in for the time being, but I think this is a very cuttable card. It's very 50-50 for me. I was playing 42 cards to kind of hide like sort of bricks like this that really is really a going first card and a very situational going second card. So I don't know how I feel about it, but it's okay. I don't regret playing it, but it was the definition of a win more card today. There's never a time where this is what made me win a match as far as I know. TB11, I know there's been some dialogue about cutting this from you know, fucking sweaty people online saying like this is like you don't need this anymore, and that might be the case. I don't know. I tried siding it out. Like I never sided this card out last format. I sided it out a few times today, and like most of the time I didn't care. Although there was one match against my friend Javier where I did care. I mean, I still won the game, so I guess maybe it doesn't matter. But I just think it's like kind of just a really good card. I think it just helps. It's not a terrible card to draw going first or second as long as you have other like a normal summon in hand that's productive, because it helps you dodge Imperm obviously, but it just gets you access to your other names in the deck, which sometimes is kind of awkward. Like without it, you kind of have to go through Red Ransom otherwise. So I don't know. I still really like it. These cards still really broken. But yeah, I don't know about cutting TV11. I think if anything, you just like up your deck count if you're worried about drawing too many traps or whatever. Anyway, so that's the end of the engine. Then for like non-engine, we play one Nibiru. It's not necessarily like a cross-out target. I'm not playing like cross-out in the main, but like I just didn't have like a better like one of type card, and I kind of like the theory of like you play one just because like it can be high impact, and since I play a bunch of Charmies, it gives me something really high impact to draw into, but I'm never like bricking on this. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, then the MVPs from the for the day were Magnuma and Druisworm. These cards were crazy. The amount of times I hard drew these, sometimes even together, they were so important for breaking boards today. Like Druisworm crashed into like Diabell, the Synchro 8, and just like getting, oh my god, that happened multiple times today. It was so good, so good. They should put this back to 3. Druisworm did nothing wrong. I originally had Baldrake in, and I rather had the one nib in there as opposed to it, and I didn't necessarily miss it, but it is a nice inboard piece and just a nice extender, so I'll have to think about that going forward. Anyway, 3 Perulia, to me this is like the Charmy of the format, or at least the one I mostly include in the main decks of all the different decks I've been testing. Like I said, I've been playing like a lot of Fiendsmith variants, and I just don't love the mid-range Fiendsmith decks right now, just because like the best decks have so much gas that it's very tough for them to handle. But this card's really good. It hits Ryziel, it hits Mitsurugi, and it hits Maliss. And the cool thing about Puruli is you get like draws really quickly off it, so it's like kind of just like upstart Goblin from the hand that also kind of freaks your opponent out and makes them play non-optimally, and then you just draw into like the non-engine you need. So it's a good card. I also decided to play 3 Fua in the main. I didn't have this card at the last regional that I topped, but I have it now, and it didn't really come up much today. I think it only resolved like once or twice, but it's a good card. And then obligatory 3 Ash Blossom, because it's Ash. I had like a funny game where I was playing a mirror match between me and another Maliss player, and I drew like 2 or 3 of these over the course of the match. And it was like the definition of like a hand trap warp where we each had like 1 or 2 starting plays and we just stopped each other. And then like at some point I like normaled a Charmy, made a dark, the dark charmer tried to like grab something, and then he impermed it, and then I ashed something, and then I successfully stole it and comboed off. But I don't know, beside the point. This card's still good. It's a good defensive card against Charmies. It meaningfully hits Maliss cards. I mean, obviously you're not stopping the deck with this alone, but this plus like an Impulse, this plus like Nib, this plus like a Imperm or whatever, can still be very strong. So I still think this is a good card. Anyway, 1 Called By, because it's Called By. This low-key like kind of crazy for breaking boards. I was playing my friend Juan today, who was on White Forest, and he like straight up like full combo White Forested me, and I was like, oh my god. Like, I've played a lot of White Forest, I know how crazy those boards can be, and using Drew Swarm and Mag plus having this in hand to like banish and negate his Ilya Sylvia. Oh my god, so broken. I felt kind of bad. It was kind of mean of me, and then I shifted him the next game. So yeah, anyway, that's Jesus Christ, that's the kind of friend I am. Anyway, best non-engine in the format, Dominus Impulse, baby. So good. When I was playing my friend Javier today, we had a game where he kind of committed to a point with his board where he lost access to Maliss names. He banished one of his names from the graveyard to summon it back, like with a Haggard or whatever, and I impulsed it, and he had no way to extend beyond that, which was unfortunate. I don't really remember the game state well enough to know if there was a line he could have played around it. But yeah, I don't know, I felt kind of bad. But this card's kind of crazy. It's like one card that can like legitimately shut off Maliss and Mitsurugi by itself. So pretty wild. I also had in my first match of the day, I was playing Fiendsmith Ryziel, and they started off with their Fiendsmith cards, had Lacrima on the field and Engraver engrave, and then they normal summoned Ice, and this was my only hand trap in hand, and I'm like, oh my god, like I stopped this, but like then they just make duo drive and go full combo. But I kind of like sort of very quickly like and confidently put this on the field, which kind of gave which was intended, and then gave like the impression that like maybe I had more to stop them going forward, so they didn't end up making a duo drive, probably assuming like, because they didn't want to do that, because then they'd have like kind of not a real way to like go into like a Desiree or whatever, or I think maybe they could have, I don't really remember. Anyway, the point is they went into like a sequence instead, trying to play it safe, and then I beat over their board and won, which was kind of funny. So sometimes you gotta just like throw those hand traps down with conviction, like, you know, like you're a super like pro player, know what you're doing, and sometimes it works. Anyway, and then 3 Imperm for the rest of the non-engine, because it's Imperm. It's not like great this format, like your opponents could like dodge stuff, which is obnoxious, but Imperm plus Dominus, which crazy enough was a hand I had many times today. Yeah, pretty good against Maliss, pretty good against Ryziel, pretty good against everything. So yeah, I was really stressing out over the non-engine in this deck for the last month, how much what ratios, and obviously playing like Dominus Impulse, it's so good, but it's so awkward at the same time because it makes things like Nibiru, Ghost Ogre, Ghost Spell, Droll, like all these cards that can be very high impact and can be really nice to have in decks. It makes them very weird, but anyway, yeah, I was very happy with my hand trap lineup today. The only thing that conflicted with Dominus Impulse was Nib, and it never came up where the two were in the same hand. And otherwise, like, you just nib and then you, like, impulse their extender. So, pretty broken. Anyway, 42 card main deck, like I said. Very happy with it. Then for the links, we got 3 link 1s. Link Rebo because it's, like, broken. This kind of, like, came up, like, kind of crazy in my last game. Last match of the afternoon where I was playing an Apophis player. And, yeah, this card just, like, stops their end board. Like, that's kind of crazy. I don't know. And yeah, just a really good way to play around like imperms, impulses, and a lot of the time, especially when I was playing a mirror match, I was just leaving this on the field as long as possible or even into my opponent's turn, and just like playing under it with like surplus bodies and stuff, and it felt really good. Like I said earlier, Almirage is crazy. I've explained to like acquaintances of mine like why you play this, like in theory. And it was very rewarding today that it actually came up in real tournament situations where it felt really good to be able to like normal summon a Charmy and make this and then summon out backup. Like, feels good. And then Link Spider, I got nibbed several times today, but there was only one time where it ended my turn and caused me to lose the game. And that was because I played into it and I didn't play around it, and I'm just bad sometimes. But I highly recommend playing this card. I think it's really good. Then for like Link 2 extenders, we've got Dark, which I went over. It's good in the mirror match. Sometimes you can steal like White Forest stuff, like the new Diabell Star card. It's kind of funny. Haggard comes up in like standard combo lines still. I was trying to explain this to like people. Like, I don't like this like combo that's been going around like on YouTube and shit, where it's like you make like typical like 2 bodies and then you go Splash Mage, summon it back. And the theory behind that is like you don't expend like, if it's like a 1-card Dormouse combo, for example, you don't like banish the Dormouse, so you still get like an extra body off of like a red ransom or something later in the combo line. Like, one, these like combos never happen in real life, it doesn't matter. But this is really awkward because if you get like Ghost Ogred on this, like you literally have to have like hard drawn like like either Malice and Underground, Gold Sark, or like March Hare to like keep playing. And even then, it's like you add another body on the board, or you know, it could be like a wizard or something, right? But like you lock yourself out of SP, you lock yourself out of Dark, you lock yourself out of Haggard. So all your normal Link 2 extenders are gone for the rest of the turn if you lead with this. So I think that's crazy. So all day it was either Haggard, SP. Sometimes it was leading with Splash Mage, but those were usually in like more defined game states where hand traps had been. I had gone back and forth, and like usually when I was like playing into a board and I didn't want to use like an SP so I could like still get damage on the board, that sort of thing. Funny enough, Cyber's Wicked didn't come up a single time today because like there was never a time where I was comboing off and I needed to search backup because she was just always in my hand all day whenever I got this far in combo. Because otherwise, if she wasn't in hand, I was just like OTKing on turn 2. So this card's still important in theory, but it literally never came up today. And then Link 3 is 1 red ransom, 1 white binder, 1 hearts cryptor, and 1 heat soul. These are standard. I've gone back and forth. Like at the end of last format, I was playing 2 white binder on a lot of my lists just because like I didn't think there's anything else that was like worth going into or having. Like I've never been like an IP fan in this deck. I've never really understood that. I mean, I've seen like how people like combo with it, but I don't know. It just never made sense to me. It never came up enough for me. But anyway, that's beside the point. This one is like kind of the weirder card. Like I feel like this card at the beginning of Maliss formats, the last like few times gets put in there and then gets taken out by people. I like the theory of this though, because like the idea is you normal summon a Charmy, make Almirage, then you summon out backup, and then if your backup gets impermed, you go, okay, I make Splash Mage, bring back the backup, and then I make this. And like theoretically, like if you're at a point where you're normal summoning a Charmy and you've got like one backup to extend in hand, you either have a handful of hand traps or you've got like a Maliss trap or like just engine requirement type card. And this just helps you dig for engine or more hand traps, just getting 2 draws off. And so I think it can come up. I only made this like once or twice all day. And again, this was in like those weird like states where you've been interrupted some, but not like... It's always hard to explain because there's not like a spreadsheet combo I can really give that where this necessarily happens. But it just naturally happens in game states, and like sometimes you look at your hand and you're like, okay, like this combo is going to end on like 1 or 2 interruptions, and I have like no hand traps to layer my board, so I kind of want to dig for them. That's kind of... Anyway, that is a very long way of saying this card, it's like kind of cool, but I might cut it for like White Binder or a utility card. Anyway, then for the rest of the extra deck, A-Code, or I guess it's Alliance Code Talker now, Axis Code Talker, and Firewall Dragon. Firewall is still crazy, especially in the mirror match. Oh my god, the amount of times I was able to bounce 2 or 3, or like bounce some cards your opponent has and then like loop a Lancia or something. Oh, disgusting. And then Axis Code Talker. A lot of people are cutting this, and I thought about cutting this, but I'm really glad I didn't, because so many times, this was like low-key one of the MVPs of my extra deck today, because it just let me get through game states where it's like my opponent had like bodies on the board, especially ones that were kind of tough to like deal with, and I like just didn't have a lot of removal options, and this just cleared the board and let me OTK. And maybe there were ways to do it without like where I'd be able to OTK without this, but like I'll be honest, going from like 10 a.m. to like 6 p.m. That's just like a lot of brain power. And you know what, having like a card that just answers like awkward game states like Axis Code Talker just saves so many brain cells that I just can't afford to lose. And then Alliance Code Talker, I originally thought this was like kind of a win more card, and it to some extent it still kind of is in a way, but like you don't necessarily need this, I would say. But it was on my inboard several times today, and it was nice having just an Omni Negate that I could hold like late into a turn. But this could just as easily be like, you know, having a Heart's Cryptor, because like a lot of the time you can't end on Cryptor and this. Sometimes you can, depending on your hand and how you're interrupted. But a lot of the times you need, it's kind of one or the other, and same thing with Firewall. I mean, I know there are like YouTube combos that like look like this on the end board, and there's like a Cryptor and Graveyard or whatever, but like, I don't know. Again, I maybe there are like just more reliable things that you could do. I didn't like memorize like combos really for this event. I just kind of freestyled most of my hands the whole day. And if you just like kind of recognize like sort of the thematic positions of Maliss and understand what the game plan is, and like understand what you need to do to stop your opponent, whether it's dig for hand traps, dig for floodgates and stuff like that, or if it's just to like, you know, get over and OTK your opponent for exactly game or whatever. It is one thing I like about Maliss is like you kind of recognize what you're missing in a certain game situation or what needs to happen, and both the in-deck tools and the extra deck tools just let you achieve that or whatever, which I guess is like kind of how Yu-Gi-Oh works in general, right? But I don't know. I feel like this deck is just exceptional at it. It's so fun. Anyway, that's the extra deck. Cool stuff. And then for the side deck, my favorite card of all time, Dimension Shifter. Unfortunately, he, she, they was put to 1, which is terrible. It's like the worst thing that's ever happened in Yu-Gi-Oh history. Anyway, I only drew it once all day, and I sacked my friend Juan with it. I felt kind of bad, but not really. Then 3 Artifact Lancia for the mirror match. 3 Droll and Lockbird for Ryziel and Mitsurugi. I drew this like once or twice all day. I drew it against Mermail, and then they like OTK'd me through it, which felt bad. I was kind of feeling before the event that like Droll might be like a very fake card this format, because it just felt like a lot of the time in testing, like even through Droll, your opponent could like make meaningful inboards, and I was just like, why do I play this card? I let them get started and get an ad, and then they like ended on like a Detonator or like a Mitsurugi card that my engine doesn't have an answer for. So I don't know. Drill might be overrated. It is kind of nice going first, though. Like, you just go first, drill your opponent, flip a floodgate on them afterwards, banish all their stuff. Ugh, it's such a good deck. Crossout Designator, like, I don't know. I literally never play this card. Everybody says you gotta play it, and I never drew it, so whatever. And it probably fucked up my siding patterns, so who knows. Anyway, Thrust. Another good card. I only used it like once or twice all day, because again, it just never came up, and it was sometimes awkward to like side in and out of even going first, just because like there's so many cards that you want to play against certain decks. And it's like, yeah, I could like use this to search floodgates, or I could have like my 3-draw unlock birds and my like Dominus Impulses and my crossout targets. Crossout really was the villain of the day, despite never drawing it. It made my side deck so obnoxious. Anyway, the 1 talents. This was another card I actually didn't side in very much, because again, I was either trying to stop my opponent or going first. I played a lot of decks that don't reliably like activate hand traps in the main phase. Like aside from like, you know, Charmies and stuff, but like a lot of like Maliss that's just like Impulse, Imperm, that sort of thing. It did come up in a Ryziel matchup, and I just like, he like Lancia'd me, I activated this, looked at his hand, he had bricked, and then I just sent back his other Lancia and then like made a half board and then like won. But I didn't need this to win. It didn't make a difference, but it was funny. Anyway, Duster, again, never came up, sided it against like these Ryziel decks a few times. It's kind of nice in like these like kind of against like mid-range decks and in these grind games, but never came up today. D-Barrier, Different Dimension Ground, Artifact Sanctum, the Holy Trinity of Thrust targets. Rest in peace to Magic Cylinder, another great Thrust target, but did not make the cut for today. Yeah, against that same like Ryziel Fiendsmith player, in game 2, I like flipped up this, and then I flipped up this, and then I flipped up this when he pivoted into Fiendsmith stuff, and then he was like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And then like, yeah, Sanctum, pretty cool. Summons out your Lancia, and it actually resolved today. A lot of the times it's gotten ashed for me, but every time this was on the field, it resolved, and I'm pretty sure I won every time I made it. So anyway, that's the deck in a nutshell. Yeah, like I said, I won 6-2 today. I beat Fiendsmith Ryziel in my first 2 rounds. Then I lost to White Forest. Then I beat White Forest. Then I beat Maliss 2 times in a row. Then I lost to Mermail. And then I beat Apophis at the end of the day. I think that adds up to 8. Whatever it is. So I got a good mix of meta and rogue decks today. Saw a lot more Fiendsmith than I was expecting. So I'm glad I at least had some Bestials in the deck, but I never felt like I needed more. And funny enough, I never played any Blue Eyes players, so what can you do? But yeah, I had a lot of fun today. Glad I went, and glad I got the chance to play Maliss. So yeah, I'd be very interested, like how you guys are liking the new deck, how you are like kind of approaching the design philosophy, like how many of these like bricky cards are you playing? How many Maliss names are you playing? Do you run a lure? What do you think about the extra deck? That sort of thing. What's your philosophy on non-engine and like deck size? You go like a clean 40, you try to go higher to like hide bricks and like hide dupes and that sort of thing. I don't know. I love like this sort of theory stuff, so if you guys have anything to add, feel free to do so. But yeah, anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.